Stage 7, the 4 leading cars all break the previous mark. Kankinen is fastest. McRae misses a hairpin bend and he's still having gearbox problems, but is also still second fastest. On to Special Stage 8, Flins. A touch over 32 kilometres, it's the longest run of the day. The stage was the scene of last year's fatality. Colin McRae produces perhaps one of the outstanding performances of Telecom Rally Australia 94, smashing the old Flins record by a whopping 35 seconds. Possum Bourne, pushing the 1993 tragedy aside, was just 1 second behind McRae. The Kiwi has moved into equal second outright. Kankinen and the young Briton Richard Burns in the third Works Impreza were also both inside the old record. Burns' good time was despite hitting a loose piece of wood on the road, damaging the right suspension and disabling the power steering. The next 3 special stages are clustered around the historic hamlet of York, and all are renowned for producing exciting rallying. Special Stage 9 is York Railway, normally one of the fastest stages in the rally. Ewa Kankinen looks intense on the line for the start and makes a flying start. He covers the 5.3 kilometre run through the picturesque countryside in just 2 minutes 36 seconds. The world champion isn't stopping to look at the views. McRae is just 1 second behind, second fastest for the stage, but still retains the overall lead with an 18-second cushion. A huge battle is emerging between Possum Bourne and Swedish ace Kenneth Eriksson for third place. Over 4 special stages, virtual daylight has been separating the pair, the margin fluctuating between just 1 and 4 seconds. Richard Burns is holding 5th position overall, but is experiencing steering problems in the Impreza. Neil Bates is looking good in his battle for the Australian Rally Championship, reporting no problems and holding 7th overall. Just behind him, the always smooth-driving Ed Ordinsky, looking untroubled. The Skodas from the Czech Republic are back in Australia for the first time in 30 years. Drivers Pavel Sabira and Emil Trina have high hopes after reaching the top 10 placings in the recent Acropolis rally in Greece, where they outstayed many of the much larger turbocharged cars. They are leading the T1 class, but the 1.3-litre Skodas seem to be having problems achieving top performance on the dusty, gravel-topped West Australian roads. Special Stage 10 at the Muresk Agricultural College is a spectator favourite in the Telecom Rally Australia, with its fast open section, spectacular jumps and narrow cattle grids. Possum Bourne says he worried about the last jump as it tended to kick the rear of the car up. Some kick. Ross Dunkerton in the Lancer is cautious, taking the first jump slowly as they were higher than the previous year's rally, but later says that holding back was a mistake which needlessly cost him time. The cattle grids, made famous by Dunkerton in previous years, again provide their own special thrills in 1994. Ewa Kankinen's 1993 record at Muresk remains intact, despite the thrilling form of the lead cars. Subaru teammates Bourne and McRae dead heat for fastest time on the stage. Eriksson is only 1 second behind the pair. Kankinen, a further second back, 4th fastest. Despite his disappointment with his time at Muresk, Ross Dunkerton has continued his gutsy fight back after his morning tyres problems. He's climbed back to 16th position overall, and in 6 special stages he's jumped nearly 30 placings.
We lost 8 minutes, once you've lost 8 minutes. In fact, in this rally, if you lose 2 minutes, you're probably out of it. But with 8 minutes, it was really pointless in doing anything silly with the motor car, and that's what we're doing today, just sort of conking along and making sure we get to the end.
All the cars head for the centre of York. The regroup is a major spectator point each year. It gives the public a close-up look at the drivers as they record their check-in times and gives the drivers some time to take stock. Ewa Kankinen is still testing the full potential of his new car.
We have been playing around with the transmission today, but okay, it's working, but still it's not as we want it to be.
Richard Burns, hailed as a star of future world rallying, has had his first taste of West Australian gravel.
The conditions here are so unique, they take a little bit of getting used to. And maybe by tomorrow we'll be a little bit more on the pace.
Possum Bourne has been a big performer so far. It's an important event as he presses for points to overhaul Ericsson in the battle for Asia Pacific Series Championship.
I just wanted to get sort of up with Dennis and them and not let them get away. I think they hit me, you know. Yeah, it's not good for your own motivation in that to be too far away.
Ed Ordinsky is looking comfortable, leading the Group N class and holding a solid second in the battle with Neil Bates for the Australian Rally Championship points.
The cars ran pretty well. We had a small problem with a gear cable popping off a clip and we ran a stage with just 2 gears, but all is well, and even that didn't cost us too much time.
Bates is sitting on 6th place outright and feeling confident if his car holds together after some disappointments in recent rallies.
The day's gone extremely well for us today, probably except for the first stage this morning we're a bit slow on, but apart from that it's been quite good.
Regroup over, it's on to the Mount Observation Special Stage west of York, traditionally fast and open. The stage again provides some thrilling jumps. Kenneth Ericsson records his second fastest stage time of the day at Mount Observation, but like all the drivers, reports trouble handling the loose sand and gravel surface. Kankinen says he doesn't like the loose gravel or the close trees in some sections of the stage, but he still comes in second fastest. Vaughan reports his rear brakes in near meltdown on the hard driving stage. Canberra's Neil Bates is having a good run and has opened out a 2-minute margin in his quest to retain his Australian Rally Championship title. However, disaster is about to strike. A major mechanical failure is to knock Bates out of the Telecom Rally Australia in the next stage. His title hopes for 1994 possibly over. But fortune has smiled on Ed Ordinsky. With both Bates and Guest being forced out, it leaves the South Australian needing only a respectable finish to push him to outright points leader for the 1994 Australian Rally Championship. The final gravel stage of the day at Helena sees Kankinen and McRae dead heat. Both the leaders report a trouble-free run with their cars in great shape. Saturday ends back at Langley Park with a final assault on the tricky super special stage. The tables are turned again as McRae eats up the 2.33-kilometre track just a second ahead of the pack. Kankinen, Ericsson and Bourne all tie for second fastest. The top cars make driving the Langley Park circuit look easy. But just before the last super special stage with the sun setting over the Swan River, another bunch of drivers took to Langley Park. The entrance in the annual Daihatsu Celebrity Challenge. And this collection of sponsors, politicians, radio jocks and the Odd Network 10-star proved conclusively that this rally driving caper can be a lot harder than it looks.
3, 2, 1, go!
The 2.33-kilometre circuit was like a mobile minefield for most of the field. But while it mightn't have been pretty, it was fun for Neighbours star Eliza Zonnet.
You look a bit hot, Bob.
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. I loved it. Except there was a fuel blockage, which meant that at the start it just was no power at all.
So is this your excuse, or?
No, this is true. This is true. Excuse me, that was so exciting. I loved it.
Channel 10 basketball commentator Mike Ellis was literally steaming.
Whoa! Damn, it's hot in there.
The Daihatsu Celebrity Challenge is a timed knockout competition, and while Heartbreak High star Scott Major was out, he definitely was not down.
See, everyone else is going around pretty slowly, and I thought, well, what the hey, let's see how fast these Daihatsu charades can go. So took around the first corner, lost it, thought, all right, next one we'll go a bit faster and see if we can hang on to it. Next one went around, still lost it, and then we've been briefed about the cars and said that you can't get them airborne. You cannot get these cars airborne. So I thought, well, let's try the medium strip. So I gave the medium strip a go and got all 4 wheels off the ground, so I'm quite happy. I'm impressed, and I've even got a memento, a bit of the car to go home with.
So you did a bit of damage?
I did a bit of damage, not that I'm proud of it, but it was fun.
But it was Mike Ellis and co-driver Steve Fraser from the local Skipper Daihatsu dealership who took the celebrity title.
Have you done any competitive driving before?
No, only going to and from work, but other than that, not much.
Do you have any problems out there at all?
Yeah, definitely, the start. Well, I got all excited and I was ready to take off and I went straight to second and took off in second. I thought, this is pretty clever. I wonder why I was going,
Back at the Perth Entertainment Centre later that night for the Wildcats NBL match, Mike just couldn't wait to tell national television audience all about his big win.
Up here am I. A little bit of action there, racing along. It was great fun, but I really do admire the main drivers because they're just so talented.
The leaderboard at the end of the first day's competition in Telecom Rally Australia 1994 has set the stage for an enthralling battle. Colin McRae remains first overall with a margin of just 16 seconds back to Juha Kankkunen. The seesawing battle between Possumborn in third place and Kenneth Eriksson stays tight with just a 2-second gap between them. But Ed Ordinsky puts the state of play into perspective.
No, it's a long way to go, yes. Our lead's around about 3 minutes. That's reasonably comfortable, but, bear in mind it's a huge day tomorrow.
After the break, a look at the nuts and bolts of Telecom Rally Australia.
Good afternoon.
Often been called forest racing, and it's amongst the tall timber on Western Australia's gravel-top terrain that Telecom Rally Australia tests cars and drivers to the limit. Spread over 4 separate days, Telecom Rally Australia takes the crews over what are called special stages. After the Langley Park Super Special Stage, the 30 special stages cover a total of some 530 kilometres. They're located up to 100 kilometres east of Perth at York and some 240 kilometres to the south near Bridgetown. Each special stage in a rally is checked 3 times before the competitors take to it to make sure that there are no cars out there, no unauthorised cars that is, and no spectators in the wrong places, and they're checked by cars with these numbers on it. First car out is 000. The second car, 0, and the last car, 0. And when he says it's all clear, then it's all clear. It's on the special stages that Telecom Rally Australia will be won or lost in a race against the clock and the course.
Timing's an elapsed time. We have very sophisticated timing equipment now. The timing clocks are all synchronised between the start and finish of the special stage, and their time is nominated as they leave the start point and then registered on a digital printout clock as they cross the finish line.
To get to the special stages, rally crews must navigate the so-called transport or liaison stages.
Rallying's divided into 2 stages. One stage is called transport and the other is a special stage. Now, in the transport stages, all these cars are expected to keep to the speed limits and, in fact, obey all the regular rules of the road. But in a special stage, it's a closed road, and it's proven to be closed. And in those sections, they can go just as quickly as they possibly can, once again competing against the time.
100, fast, left 3, opens. Brakes.
For the 6 days before the rally, the driving crews cover thousands of kilometres. They'll drive up to 14 hours a day, traversing the special stages, sometimes making 4 or 5 passes over each circuit. In rally parlance, it's called reconnaissance.
Left 3 loop into a right 5 clip.
The object of the exercise is to compile what's termed pace notes. They're a form of rally drivers' shorthand which plot every bend, jump or potential obstacle on the special stages. As a further backup for pace noting, just before the special stages are closed off, Gravel Notes teams drive ahead of the field. This is especially important if changing weather has changed the course since pace noting was done. Former British Rally champion Jimmy McRae has been compiling son Colin's gravel notes for 3 years now.
We actually go through the stages prior to the stages closing for the competitors, and basically we go through with Colin's and Richard Burns' notes and just mark in all the places where there's mud or holes, or alter the notes really because the conditions have changed from they did the recce.
And before any rally gets underway, every car in the field must be cleared through the process of official scrutineering.
Basically, pre-event scrutineering is solely safety aspects, everything including roll cages, harnesses, and fire extinguishers are checked.
Is your attitude different to the factory teams than it is to the privateer teams at the back of the field?
Oh, certainly not from a safety point of view. All cars have to be equal. You can't compromise in safety.
What do you do if the cars aren't up to standard?
Well, they're given a represent time. We allow them, depending on the type of repair that has to be done, we allow them a certain time and send them away, and they come back and we have another look at it. And generally they're fixed within that time.
The extensive rules governing rallying are aimed at ensuring fair, fast competition, but with stringent safety standards. Rally Australia's spectator safety record is envied around the world. In stark contrast, some rallies in Europe are hallmarked by spectators who've been likened to matadors taunting the charging cars. In Europe, rally drivers are endowed with the status of rock stars, but the adulation of the hordes of adoring fans can have a price. Spectator control is just one of the reasons Telecom Rally Australia has become known as the favourite event of the top drivers.
Australia, like we have been talking with the boys because we do all the rallies around the year, and let's say it's the best rally in the year.
The organisation of the event is second to none.
One of the keys to that organisation is more than 1,300 volunteers who control the rally at every point. And there's superb communications, mobile satellite earth stations in the countryside.
255. I'll follow up with a phone call.
And the high-tech results centre at Rally Centre headquarters in the Sheraton Perth Hotel. Within minutes of the field finishing a special stage, this remarkable system delivers printouts detailing complete result updates back to spectators, crews and the media in the field. Day 3 of Telecom Rally Australia, the longest and the toughest in the event. It begins early at the Myara Special Stage about 70 kilometres southeast of Perth. The stage is a run of just under 11 kilometres through natural forest areas on open sandy roads, but it's just a taste of what lies ahead. After a dawn start, the crews will be back in their cars for 15 and a half hours before arriving back in Perth on Sunday night. They'll cover about 250 kilometres of special stages and nearly 900 kilometres of transport stages. It's a daunting schedule, but will virtually decide the winners and losers in Telecom Rally Australia 1994. Juha Kankinen starts the day by whittling a further 3 seconds off the overnight lead of Colin McRae. The Scot and Kenneth Eriksson tie for second place on the stage, with Possum Bourne fourth. This puts the Swede marginally ahead of Bourne, reversing the previous night's order. Both drivers are looking confident, but which man and which car will last through the long day's grind?
Oh, it's quite tight now, all of us, so it's a big fight, yeah. My car's set up really good for these roads, so it's good, and we just hope it's like that all the rally, but it should be. Feels good, the car. Feels really strong, and it's got a lot of torque, so you can get it into the corner and really let it get down in the revs, and you get more traction that way, and just stand on it and away it goes, so it's going good.
Back in the day's early running, and Gregoire de Mevius was purring along in the neat 2-litre Opel, continuing where he left off on Saturday, a clear leader in the F2 class. Further south to the Murray Pines Special Stage with its uncharacteristic driving surface. Instead of gravel, there's a high proportion of clay which turns rock hard in the dry weather. McRae sets a blistering pace on Murray Pines, finishing a full 9 seconds ahead of arch-rival Kankinen. Possum Bourne is second fastest. He again leapfrogs Eriksson, the Kiwi back in front by 2 seconds in their battle. And fresh drama on stage 15. Japan's Mitsuo Mishima fails to take a bend and clips the trees and spins off.
Slow the next car down.
need loads of people. Any more people down there?
For Mitsuo and experienced British co-driver Kevin Gormley, the first concern is to warn following cars. The course marshals swing into action too.
Communications, I have a car off at 19.18 kilometres in Murray Pines.
The driver is unhurt but shaken.
On corner and cross the jump and not braking, then speed down. Didn't.
Incredibly, they eventually get the Group N Impreza back on the road, but are excluded from the rally under the event's rules that they arrived too late at the next time-controlled checkpoint. The next two stages, Stirling West and Stirling East, skirt around one of Perth's main freshwater dam catchment areas. On Stirling West, Juho Kankkonen's back in business, running the fastest and taking another 4 seconds off McRae. The neck-and-neck Bourne and Ericsson dead heat. What a battle. On Stirling East, the Flying Finn in the new Celica GT4 is again fastest and shaves another 7 seconds off McRae's lead. The margin now down to just 11 seconds. Bourne was third fastest, 8 seconds ahead of Ericsson. But the big mover on the stage was to be Ross Dunkerton. With sixth fastest time, he's now back to 7th place overall. Don't forget, just 24 hours earlier, Dunkerton had plunged to 43rd in the field. ML Trina's rally ends on the Stirling East stage. His Skoda hits a tree and is out of the running. On the next stage, Kankkonen continues to attack. Again, taking fastest time and another 4 seconds back from McRae, the margin between the two leaders now down to a nail-biting 7 seconds. Next stop is the football ground at the coal mining town of Collie for a major service stop. After 5.5 hours at the wheel, over 90 kilometres of hard rally driving and 5 special stages, everyone needs a breather. The morning's honours have been taken by Juho Kankkonen and navigator Nicky Grist with wins on 4 of the 6 stages.
Nicky, obviously a very important time in the rally. You've closed within 7 seconds of Colin McRae. What's the plan from here?
Okay, carry on. Try and take as much time as we can. Obviously, nobody wants to finish second. If you can take the lead, well, all the better. Especially now we're getting into 3 very long stages, and especially the next one, the longest of the rally. It's quite critical, so we'll have to see.
Do you think these stages suit your car or his more?
Okay, I mean, our car is obviously going well at the moment. We'd like to have 100 kilos less on our car. It weighs too much, but generally it'll suit us both, I think. It'll be a good fight.
By Collie, Possumbourne is just 6 seconds ahead of Kenneth Ericsson.
It's really close. Yeah, it's quite a big scrap to make any time at all off Kenneth, because he just gets some and then he takes some back, and it's been like that all morning, so looks like it's going to be hard work all day.
And that hard work gets back underway on special stage 19, Wellington Dam, just outside Collie. A 45-kilometre run, it's the longest special stage in the rally and a big test of stamina for cars and crews. Colin McRae has a scintillating drive, breaking his own record for the stage by an astounding 9 seconds to peg back some of Kankkonen's recent gains. Ericsson is third fastest, 15 seconds ahead of Bourne. The Swede is now 9 seconds clear in third place. It's the biggest gap between the pair in 16 stages. After the long Wellington Dam stage, the cars pull into tiny Donnybrook for a regroup. The Subaru service crew swing into action. McRae recorded his great time despite hitting an earthen mound, damaging the front of the car. Time is limited to get the Impreza back in shape.
Colin, you look like you've had a slight mishap on that last stage.
Yeah, nothing much. We just had some amount of dip in the outside of one of the corners.
Did it cost you much time?
Nothing. I'm just going to check the times now. I think we were quicker than you had, so no problem.
Even the smooth driving Ed Ordinsky has been striking problems.
I hit a few things underneath. The boys are fixing the exhaust now. It should be okay though. It feels strong. I hope it can go this pace the whole way.
But rally driving isn't just all about big budget works teams. A unique feature of Telecom Rally Australia is the Daihatsu Challenge. Inaugurated 3 years ago by the organisers of Telecom Rally Australia and Daihatsu, the event gives young drivers a chance to break into the sport. Rounds of the series are held around Australia, with the Perth event worth double points in the quest for a dream. The series winner in the Daihatsu Challenge wins a fully supported Works team drive in the 2 rounds of the World Rally Championship overseas. Going into Telecom Rally Australia this year, young Perth driver Andrew Pinker and his navigator Claire Parker are lying second in the current series and chasing that dream.
We've come a long way in a short time, we like to think, and had last year as a bit of a feel year in the challenge to see what it was.
Naming that, so we've got a little Bart character on the car.
We'll find out how our young drivers perform later. After the break, the longest day ends in the dark. Enormous skill and great control of the top rally drivers as they wrestle the cars left and right under brakes to set up the corners. But sometimes it goes wrong, even for the most skilled drivers. Kenneth Eriksson spins and stops at a hairpin on the Ferndale stage, losing 4 to 5 seconds while he struggles to get the Lancer back into gear. Then, incredibly, on the next stage, Eriksson repeats the error, spinning and stalling again while cornering. At a service stop, the Mitsubishi Team Rally Art crew strive to get things back in the groove.
We started off with some brake problems this morning. We couldn't bleed the brakes properly, and we kept on having a spongy pedal. And with Kenneth being a left foot braker, it's the worst thing that can ever happen. It's a nightmare for me come true. But after about 3 stages, we managed to locate the problem, which was a faulty handbrake valve. And after that, we got the brake pedal back. We got some confidence in the car again.
The next stage, Dongara Ridge, produces another fastest time for Kankkunen, but McRae's lead is now a more comfortable 30 seconds. Back on the Brunswick special stage for the second time that day, McRae is fastest, setting the same record time as Kankkunen when he took the honours earlier. Night is beginning to fall as the drivers reach the Harvey Puir special stage. Just over 8 kilometres long, tight and twisting on narrow sand tracks through stands of pine trees, times are relatively slow. Only a second separates Kankkunen and McRae on the stage. Eriksson cements his 3rd outright placing, and Dunkerton consolidates 6th place. Temperatures were starting to fall, though, as the field took to the last special stage of the longest day, Mariner. Nighttime driving used to be a more dominant feature of major rallies, but the number of special stages run at night has been cut in recent years, mainly because of safety concerns. Kankkunen claims another fastest stage time, his 7th over the day's 12 stages. But it hasn't been enough to catch McRae, who will go into the final day of Telecom Rally Australia with a 23-second buffer. A surprise on the night stage is the 2nd fastest time recorded by the young Englishman Richard Burns. Extra reconnaissance on the Marinup special stage had been the key.
It was a stage we had noted sort of 7 or 8 times because it was only a fairly short stage, so decided to just have a little bit of a try just to boost my morale a little bit, and it worked. The stage was, we had no problems in it at all.
After the long day's driving, a young Subaru fan greets Richard Burns back in Perth.
There you go.
What'd you say? Okay.
That's okay.
It's been a good day's work for Ross Dunkerton, now the top-placed Aussie.
I think we dropped to about 38, on Saturday, but it's been a steady pace today, and we're back up to 6th, and that's as high as we can get, unless some of the leading blokes have some trouble, but I don't think they are. It's probably the first time I've seen an event like this where all 6 factory cars are still going. It just shows you the preparation that is being put into cars nowadays, I'm afraid, isn't it?
The leaderboard at the end of day 3 shows McRae still out in front, the margin just 23 seconds. The big question, can he hold up Kankkunen on the final day? The attrition rate in big rallies is high. By the end of day 3, 24 of the 74 starters, a third of the field, are out of the running. Those cars still running go into Parc Fermé at Langley Park under lock and key and all-night security. We'll return after the break with the final nail-biting chapters in Telecom Rally Australia 1994. The sun creeps over the